Hey, and we're back. So, mixed panel, using segments,
Yes.
changing a lot, saving integration costs.
Yeah, so we are constantly trying things. Those that work, we keep. Those that don't, we kick. But even having said that, by virtue of the fact that we've changed our tools as a company, some of those have worked and not. Segment is something that we used a lot more with more integrations, just because it makes it that much easier. And at the moment we are probably a little bit analytical light in some regards. So at the moment it's a fairly query-based manual process for going through site logs for some things, and otherwise GA forms most of what we use on a daily basis.
Awesome. And for a startup who's starting today and wants to be global from day one, what do you think are the core tools that they should be considering? Tools or services?
That's a good question.
In a marketplace context, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we are slightly different in that we have a much more physical component to our operations. So I was going to say, if you're looking to be global, consider an entirely digital solution. It's probably best. I mean, look at Canva as such an amazing Sydney startup that by its very nature is globally applicable. I guess I don't know how much the best practices permeate to Australia, so this is one of the things I've been interested to find out while I'm here. I think things like that are fairly location agnostic, things like Segment and Sentry and AWS, obviously, which allows you to use local servers now. We have only just discovered the benefit of local provisioning on servers. I don't know, I mean, to be honest, I just think global is so inherent these days. I don't think anyone is starting a business assuming they want to do something quite small. We didn't know how quickly we would launch internationally, but we definitely assumed that we would move internationally. And things like multi-currency, things like Stripe, right, that can handle payments in many different systems.
Stripe Atlas as well, being able to launch anywhere with a bank account is amazing without having to be there.
So, the web's worldwide.
that interweb thing. And what's your team culture like? I mean, to be able to move at that sort of pace, go international in 2 years, what's that like?
It's lean, it's agile. We always like to think that we're a small team doing the work of a fairly large one. I would say that I come from a finance background, and generally it's fairly populated by overachievers, alpha types.
So you all butt heads eventually then?
Oh yeah, it's exactly. Part of it is exactly what people think it is, but people are fairly autonomous and fairly motivated, and that's definitely something that I have tried to carry into startup world, because I think it's probably even more important there. But it wasn't a highly managerial culture, so I now, as someone that is supposed to be leading by example, for example, and fomenting a team culture.
And yet you're here lounging around having a chat with people out on the street.
I work a 24-hour day now. That's the plus and the minus of
2 time zones.
It's just literally the opposite end of the world. I think the old adage that the Pareto principle of 20% of people doing 80% of the work. Thankfully, that's not true within our company, but it does highlight that when you get the right people, they can do so much more. So
what's the construct of your teams? Mostly engineers, sales?
So we are split half developers and half sales and operations, because they're so interlinked.
Yes.
And we have myself and my co-founder who are not directly deployed onto either of those two sides of the business.
Yeah. And how do you and your co-founder work together?
Extremely, like again, startups is such a journey, and like a marriage, you need to pick the right partner for it. I can't say enough good things about him. So
the romance is real. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, you need someone that calls you out when you need to be, his opinion you value.
Yeah.
And likewise, you'll hopefully provide the same for them.
Yeah.
And he comes from a construction background through and through, so he was a property guy originally. So thankfully, that level of industry expertise is something that I've been able to leverage hugely.
Yeah.
And I think it's what has allowed us to. It allowed us day one to say, well, we know we're going to do property, we can do anything. And it has allowed us to start taking on everything and knowing who to go to when we need various different things done.
That's great. And are you guys looking to hire in the future? Bring other skill sets?
We are. Disclaimer, anyone in Australia that wants to be a general manager. So we are setting up here. We've got one person signed. We've got all our tradespeople signed up. We have offers out to another person, but we are looking for a senior hire.
Great. And what does that look like? Did you start part of that journey in London, trying to reach out to people, getting trades, how do you dip your toe in the water before you jump on a plane to Sydney and go, is this the best way to scale my business, location-wise?
So again, market research was the first step for us, and then it was having some initial conversations from a distance.
Yeah.
So we started interviewing from London, FaceTime, Skype, WhatsApp audio, whatever worked for them, and then yes, basically. Came over for second round interviews, which is fun.
Cool. Not for this very important chat.
It was all based around this. That's why I'm here now. But that is why
your priority list, right? Yeah, perfect. And where do you go to for your kind of knowledge? Is there certain books that you keep reading as a leader to keep making sure you're moving forward so you can keep up with the business, or is there mentors, podcasts? How do you keep learning?
It's everything. I was just listening to Masters of Scale podcast with Reid Hoffman. It's the Barry Diller one where he's the constant learner, and that's kind of how I feel about it. So we have, I'm very much book oriented, so I read a ton, and that and podcasts, I guess, are the biggest things for us. Yeah. We are in a similar space work-wise to Fish Learners in London. So there are other people who are more advanced, less advanced than us, doing tangential, similar, or totally unrelated industries that you can benefit from speaking to.
Yeah.
I think inherent curiosity is kind of something I think is really important.
Yeah.
And however you get that knowledge is kind of
up to you. What are the kind of the best places to go in London for a co-working space or as a startup just to get started?
Oh, so we are, I want to say we're at WeWork saturation point, but apparently not. We're like, every marginal deal seems to be WeWork as the anchor tenant. So they are, I think, a good one for learning from people around you and for having an inbuilt ecosystem. Yeah. People having talks at WeWork, for example, is great. I would say some people with whom I've spoken feel that it's a little less conducive to the next stage of growth because you have more of those really young, keen, I saw you just raised, and just constantly coming into your office or biking you when you're on the floor, and that's slightly, when you're in the zone, you don't want that happening. We've got quite a few. I mean, Huckletree, Ugly,
Google Campus.
Google Campus
Yeah.
always puts on great events.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think
That Shoreditch area is so saturated compared to Australia and Sydney, right?
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Apparently, I mean, it's expensive, so
Yeah.
it's factored into the price, I guess. But yeah, it's a very tight area. We're not actually in that part. We are in West London.
Yeah.
Most of our customers are. But it's kind of nice to get both sides of it. So yeah, I think as long as you basically stand in Shoreditch, you'll find something that you need or a helpful resource.
Yeah. Or 2-minute noodles, I'm sure.
Yeah, ramen profitable, right? That's, we are.
It's the next startup.
Inundated with ramen joints now.
I can imagine. Oh, that's awesome. And if I ask everyone this, if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why?
Startup related or not?
No.
Oh, flying.
Yes.
Flying.
That's a good one.
As someone that's about to go on another 24-hour flight back, I was in control of that.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine.
Awesome.
Us.
Well, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And
Thanks for having me.
Sydney goes well.
Yes, indeed. We will be speaking.
Bye, gang. Thank you.